everybody, welcome back to our 5th episode of the newly named Weekly Grind. So, I know that's going to cause a little confusion. That wasn't a name that was suggested earlier on our social media, but with a lot of things that transpired, we did pick a winner. What ended up happening was not a lot of people were voting. We didn't get a whole lot of submissions before the deadline we had set. We ended up getting more submissions afterwards. And then just in the shop, Russell and I were working, and what ended up happening, I was actually grinding on a knife, doing grind lines, of course, and it was one of those things that just kind of popped into my head of, you know, this is the main thing of what we do. It's what a lot of the skill that we do contributes to in the work that we do. Grind lines are definitely one of those things that have a learning curve, and definitely are one of those things that need to be pristine when making a knife. So that's a big chunk of skill right there in the grind lines. And just because that's a main part of what we do, I figured that was our daily grind. But we are doing this show weekly, so the weekly grind kind of hit. I shared it with Russell and Steven, and right away they were just like, that's it. That's the name for the show. So in doing that, we ended up coming up with our favorite name for the show, other than the one that we had out of the 3 that we were going through. And what ended up happening was we picked Logan Selke. I think I'm saying his name right. He basically had Making the Cut, which was the suggestion for his name of our show. We all agreed on liking his before the weekly grind came out, so we went ahead and named him the winner. So Logan, definitely appreciate the fact that you helped us out by putting a submission in, and everyone else that helped us out put a submission in. You will be able to choose one of the 2 knives that we have been posting for this show and naming it. So take a look at those 2 knives. We'd definitely love to have you continue to watch and have one of our knives on you for the first time. We appreciate it, and guys, there'll be plenty more giveaways to come along as we do things. I think the next one we're going for is going to be our 1,000 followers on Instagram. So if you haven't already, I've said it plenty of times before, follow, like, and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Make sure you have your friends following us on Instagram, because you're going to be tagging them in some of our giveaways for knives that we're giving away. So just pay attention and be ready for it. We got a lot coming. We've also got a lot of things changing up in the shop, which kind of transitions me into the topic for today, which will be our shop tour. And the reason why we kind of want to do this real quick, and I'll reiterate it when we do the shop tour, it is kind of a documentation for us, because we've actually been going through a lot of changes in this shop since I've been here, for sure, and lately within the past year for pretty constantly. We've been changing the outlook, the layout of the shop, maneuvering things. Russell and I talk daily on what we're going to be doing. So we want to get a layout of the shop and a shop tour, just so everybody can kind of see where we're doing our work, how we're doing it, and then also a documentation for us. That way down the line, as we continue to progress, we can see past versions of the shop. So along with that, that will be our topic for the day. So nothing really great on the knife knowledge, but please keep suggestions coming if you guys have any. We definitely like to backlog those, so we have reoccurring things going on. But before we get to the shop tour, we'll go ahead and go into the knives for stock. We have a good amount of kitchen and hunting knives. Steven and Russell both finished a bunch this week, so we'll get straight into that. Thank you again for joining us. This is the Weekly Grind. Let's get into knives for stock.
All right, guys, so here's a look at everything that's going into stock today. There'll be more detailed videos on our website for each individual knife. But as you see, we have 3 Hanasuki kitchen knives going in, 2 EDC hunters along with their respective leather sheaths. Great handles on all of these guys. We've got a range from Damascus steel to high carbon, and CPM are stainless. So take a look at each one of the videos online if you're interested in any one of these knives. Very beautiful, done by Russell, and the hunting knives or EDC knives done by Steven. If you have any questions on prices or any other questions that's maybe looking for a custom, give us a shout and take a look at our website for all the current pricing. Thank you.
Okay guys, so we kind of had an idea today to do a little shop tour. So I got Steven here with me, and we're gonna start right where it all started. So in 2010, January 2010, the knife shop was literally in this one, literally a 12 by 11 foot room. So when Steven joined me at that point, everything that happened right here. We made 120 some odd knives in this little cube of a room. We used to have a grinder over here in this section. Then when Steven joined me, we put another grinder here. We even had the heat treating oven in here.
In the back corner.
In the back corner, yeah. It was crammed full like Aladdin's cave. And now we've upgraded to the point where this is the leather shop. So we've got leather storage. We've got some other random storage, knives in process that are there. Sheaths are being made. Sheaths for different things happening. But I was going to give Steven a little time here because he does a lot of the really cool carved up leather sheaths. So I was going to give him some time to talk about what he does.
Hey guys, so basically what I do here in the leather room is some of the more exotic carvings. Like right here we've got a nice Indian carving that I'm doing. Pretty much everything else I do, I just take what comes to mind and I put it down on leather. It can be anything from your typical scroll work, floral, all the way to crazy things like this, dragon skulls. Like Russell said, when we started in this room, we were shoulder to shoulder, back to back most days. Sometimes we couldn't even see near how dusty it was. We made it work though. We made it work, and we've grown to the point where we've got our bigger shop out in the garage, and it's been fun.
Alright guys, now starting with the beginning of the shop, I am going to take you straight from the street that we are on. As you can see, I am facing the house that Russell and his wife live in. You can see the sign right up there where it says Serenity Knives. That is how you get to our shop. But just to kind of give you a street view, it's a little packed on that end right there. We are on Harvard Street, which is where our shop is located in Houston. And that is the other side of Harvard Street, of course. But when you walk in, you'll basically come to this sign, and in between this sign you will definitely see a doorway right in here, right past the gate. You'll come all the way past here. It's going to get a little dark, but that light right over here is the door to the shop. So let's walk in. You'll come all the way through. Here we go, the light comes on, so there's our motion sensor light. We got a new toy coming in, so that's a new compressor that we've got going into the shop. In here you'll see a little bit more. We'll get into the garage here in just a little bit, but everybody, this is the shop. Russell, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right everyone, we are here with Russell Montgomery. We're going to start out the beginning of the shop tour. So Russell, start us off from the door.
From the door. So originally this was a garage. Well, still is a garage, but so it had a garage door. So one of the first things we did that was the major improvements was we pulled the garage door off, which meant we were able to clear out all the garage hardware. And this door is actually a full swinging door that we have shut just in case we need to get bigger machinery in at any point in the future. But that enabled us to see customers up the driveway, and that was huge at the time. It was our first major improvement to the shop after moving out here. Just recently, this was the next, or the newest, I should say, improvement. This was used to be just one, and stuff would just get cluttered on top of it all the time, and we never had enough storage for customer knife storage. So someone brings knives in to sharpen, they need to leave them for an hour or sometimes even a week while they're on vacation. We now have more storage for those knives to be kept in a safe and relatively clean environment. So that's new this week, which is exciting. Over here, this is one that's been here for a long time, as you can see all the dust, and this was the bulk of our sharpening, but bulk of our storage before, where everyone kind of has this. These are the personal boxes. So Daniel and Steven have boxes. I've got one, and they accumulate clutter and stuff. But they also hold our pin stock and our bolster material, and handles that customers have already chosen, which is one of the big things. So you can see, like, some of them will be labeled, and those are literally pieces of material that have already been chosen. And then this is all the unchosen yet claimed materials. So we have everything in here is stabilized, so lots of different woods. Some are marked, some aren't. We look at them. Some new stuff in, some old favorites. Ironwood is always around. We have lots of the spalted pecan, which everyone loves. And then this fluctuates. This will change with what's in here and what's not. Likewise, with this side, we have some man-made stuff. We have a lot of sinker cypress, which is a cool wood to work in, which this is also stabilized. And then this is all of our unstabilized stuff, or stuff we want to send off to be stabilized. Some really cool ebony that this one's a little precarious. Every time we open this, we get a little scared. And then we have some liner material and just literally some random storage up top. Immediately under that, a window unit that I literally hacked into the wall because last summer was hot and I don't like being hot. And directly under it is our hand sanding station, so we'll literally put a knife in this vise, and this is turnable, adjustable, and it's an all-purpose knife maker vise, which is great. Nice organization that Daniel brought to the table. He's like, hey, we need something better than just randomly cutting up bits of sandpaper, or what we were doing at the time, like cutting up as you needed it. So that was a cool little improvement. We get it onto our buffers, and one more, all important shop towels, where we store all of our sandpaper that is smaller than a belt size, and then the mess that is our power tools, handhelds, that we typically take these things outside to use them. Gloves, very important. We work with a lot of epoxy, and if we don't want our hands looking black and dingy, yeah, like that, we put gloves on to keep that from happening. Buffers, again, another relatively new improvement in the last couple of weeks. We put up racks for our buffing compounds to sit in. These are literally like shower stall racks and our buffing compounds. So we have basically 2 compounds for each wheel that we use, and then just 1 compound for each of these. So these are our finishing compounds. Helps make things shiny. Next we have our anvil, which this is what we use to peen things, what we use to flatten, straighten knives on, what we use to hand stamp all of the knives that right before heat treat we stamp the Serenity, customer's initials. Each of us have our individual logo that we stamp into them. So that's where that happens. And with an array of hammers, of course. We can't just have one.
And this isn't your original anvil, right?
Well, this actually is the first anvil. So this is actually a farrier's anvil. Okay. We do have another anvil, which is the forging anvil, which is outside. But this one, it's not really good for the type of forging we do. So it's kind of lived in the shop the whole time, and great for peening and straightening knives. It means we don't have to go outside every time we need to straighten knives. And then you will see on the wall all of the belts. So these are what is called 2x72. They're 2 inches wide by 72 inches long, and they go on these machines. So we have a section of brand new belts, 36 grit all the way up to 2000 grit, and then we have the same as used because we can do different things with them once they're used. Primary grind lines are the things we do mainly on brand new belts. Everything else can basically happen on a belt that's a little bit used. And you'll see we have 3 2x72 grinders set up fairly similarly. Flat platens showing means we can do flat grind lines. We can clean up the spines. This bad boy right here, this wheel actually rotates, and that's where we do our profiling. And then the one in the corner is our small wheel attachment. So for doing very intricate things like getting in here, we use the small wheels for that. Likewise in here, you can whoop, just like that, and get in that spot. And then on the other wall, we have our drill press. It makes holes. It's what it does. It's multiple speed. We have to change the speed depending on the thickness of the drill bit. Sometimes we have some wood here for, like when we're drilling through kydex, we need that to stabilize it. Otherwise, that won't be there. Bandsaw, it takes big things and makes them smaller. cutting wood. Really, we only cut wood on this nowadays. All the man-mades get cut another way because it destroys brand new saw blades. So we'll either put an old saw blade on it or literally cut it by hand. Nice big rotatable vise. You can see us clamping up some kydex right here. And then along the whole, most of the wall is pegboard. Great for storage in a shop. We've got our templates, which we have templates that date all the way back to almost my first knife, and then other ones that have been quote unquote retired, or that we just make new ones of something similar. It's one of those things as a knife maker, you're constantly increasing your template stock. You really don't ever throw them away. And then random things that we use a lot, the Dremels, they now have a position on the wall because we use them all the time. Hammers, screwdrivers, just all your regular shop stuff. And then we have Metro Rack below this table where we have our oven for our kydex, random storage for files and Dremel parts, and the mess that is over there that is kydex clamps and extra wheels. And then under here you'll see this is where we clamp up knives. Once they're glued up, we'll put them down there so that way the epoxy can drip off and not affect anything. You'll see the clamps have all kinds of dirt and grime on them. That's part of what happens. And then our sharpening station, this pops up right here, and that's where we do our sharpening with some nice little water stones. The water does get changed regularly. It just looks dirty because it's about to get changed today. And then we have the only way to truly get something flat is on a disc sander. This is literally adhesive onto a milled flat aluminum backing, and so when we go to flat and handle material, that's what we use it for. We don't actually use the 2x24 anymore, but it's there in case we want to turn this guy and use it. And then our pneumatic hose with the outer reel, that's one of the next upgrades, as Daniel alluded to, our new toy outside. That will be a big change coming up here in the very near future. And then where we spend a lot of time looking at with customers, this is our display cabinet where we have hunting, tactical, and camping knives on the top. In the middle is the bulk of our kitchen knives, and it's looking mighty full, I do say so myself, and all the beautiful knives in here. And then on the bottom we have our full set of mesquite knives and our butchering stuff, as well as some steak knives. Pretty cool. It's a pretty small shop, but we make a lot of really cool stuff in it. Yeah, that's about all I have.
All right, well, thank you, Russell. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and wrap this video up. So I'll give you a quick ending to everything that we're doing today.
All right, everyone. So you saw our shop. I know it's small. I know there's not a lot of big things going on, but it's what we do. It's what we need. Russell and I are the ones that are here full time. Tuesday through Saturday. Steven comes in after his first job, but he's definitely been here a lot longer than me. So everything you see in this shop, although it is small and although our space is a little limited, we get things done here. We know how to work in the environment that we're at, and we get everything that you see on our website done in this shop, as small as it may seem. We appreciate you coming in today. We appreciate you looking at our videos. Continue to like, subscribe, and follow. Make sure you're doing that on all of our platforms for social media. Please, please, please do not feel afraid to continue to come up with suggestions for us. Continue to reach out to us and tell us things that you want to see. We really appreciate it. We appreciate Logan for his suggestion for our name, even though we went with another one. So guys, we're going to wrap this one up. We appreciate you coming to The Weekly Grind.